Project SNOWstorm began in 2013, born out of the largest invasion of snowy owls, down from the Arctic and into the East, in at least half a century. Recognizing the opportunity of a lifetime, a group of scientists came together to study these northern invaders, in hopes of learning more about their movements and ecology when they're down here. In the 2 years since then, Project SNOWstorm has grown into a terrific example of collaborative, crowd-funded science. At its core are more than 40 researchers, bird banders, wildlife veterinarians, and pathologists, all of whom donate their time in the field and the lab to better understanding snowy owls. Using the latest tracking technology, next-generation GPS-GSM transmitters, we follow the movements of tagged owls with extraordinary three-dimensional precision, across thousands of miles of distance and years of time. We're working to understand the risks, from aircraft to environmental toxins, that snowy owls face when they're down here. The results of Project SNOWstorm's first 2 years were nothing short of spectacular. We tagged 34 owls in 9 states, from Minnesota to Massachusetts and as far south as Maryland, the first time that wintering snowy owls have been tracked in such depth and across such a diversity of habitats and regions. Through our work, we've shown how some owls are homebodies, never budging from a winter territory just a quarter of a mile wide, while others wandered hundreds of miles across 3 or 4 states in a couple of weeks. Some preferred beaches and farmland far from people, while others moved right into the heart of major cities. We also documented for the first time the extent to which some young snowy owls gravitate to the frozen expanses of the Great Lakes, spending weeks at a time far from land amid ice floes and pressure ridges. That's similar to what some adult snowies do in the Arctic, going north for the winter and feeding on sea ducks in small, permanent openings in the pack ice. Our veterinary and pathology team has performed necropsies and extensive lab tests on more than 100 snowy owls that were found dead as a result of accidents, disease, or hunger, giving us the most detailed look ever at the dangers these birds face when they come south from the Arctic. One surprising and disturbing result has been the degree to which they carry potentially dangerous levels of mercury in their system, and we're redoubling our efforts to find out how they're exposed to this toxin and how great a risk it poses to them. We've also collected feather, blood, and tissue samples from snowy owls to look at the chemical isotopes they contain, which allow us to deduce where in the Arctic they came from and how their diets change over time. Those same samples will also allow us to peer into their DNA and decipher the genetics of North America's snowy owl population. Our team includes many veteran snowy owl experts. People like Norman Smith in Massachusetts, who's been studying snowies at Boston's Logan Airport since 1981. In upstate New York, Tom McDonald has been banding and tracking snowy owls there for more than 25 years. Jean-Francois Therrien, from Hawk Mountain Sanctuary in Pennsylvania, brings a different perspective to the project, working as he does every summer with a team of Quebec scientists on the owl's breeding grounds in the Canadian Arctic. In Wisconsin, Gene Jacobs continues a tradition of snowy owl research that began in the 1960s with pioneering biologist Fran Hammerstrom and her crew. There are dozens more, all of us volunteering our time and expertise to this important effort because we recognize how critical it is. This winter, we're taking Project SNOWstorm to a whole new level. We're deploying a new generation of our solar-powered GPS transmitters, lighter, more energy efficient, and with extras like onboard temperature sensors and miniature accelerometers that constantly record changes in a tagged owl's movements and posture, which may shed light on hunting behavior, daily activity, and energy expenditures. We're expanding our partnerships with other institutions and organizations, including support for one or more graduate students whose research will focus on the complex movement ecology the owls we're tagging. And we're continuing to work with federal and state agencies, and with airport authorities, to find the best ways to minimize the dangers when owls and aircraft mix. Project SNOWstorm has been an enormous success because of you, but we have a great deal more to learn, and the need for that information has never been greater. Snowy owls are among the 2 or 3 species at greatest and most immediate risk from climate change. They breed in the very northernmost parts of the planet, where that change is happening fastest and most dramatically. The lemming cycles on which they depend for successful breeding are themselves dependent on very specific climate conditions. In some parts of the Arctic, in Norway and parts of Greenland, for example, lemming cycles have collapsed in the past 15 years, and with them, local breeding populations of snowy owls. Worse, in recent years, scientists have realized that because snowy owls are so highly nomadic, their global population has been dramatically overestimated for many years. Instead of 300,000 owls worldwide, as was long assumed, there are likely only a tenth of that number, no more than about 30,000 of them in existence, all threatened by a rapidly changing environment. Our work, helping to understand the winter ecology and migratory behavior of snowy owls, fills in critical gaps in our knowledge of these great raptors. It's our goal, through Project SNOWstorm, to ensure that snowy owls always lend their magic and majesty to the winter landscape. Anyone who looks into the yellow eyes of a snowy owl understands why these birds matter, that a world without these beautiful and mysterious creatures would be a very much poorer place. With your help, we'll do our best to make sure they continue to fly south on ghostly wings for many generations to come. As you explore our site and learn more about our work, we hope you'll consider a tax-deductible gift to help Project SNOWstorm. Thanks.